In this conversation, recorded at the BBC's television studios, the famous pianist Artur Rubinstein talks with Bernard Levin about his childhood in Poland and the beginnings of his career in France, England, and Spain.
Mr. Rubinstein, can we begin by solving a mystery? No two reference books give your date of birth the same year. When were you, in fact, born?
Well, I have never seen my birth certificate, nor did my family. I don't know, nobody has ever seen my birth certificate. You see, I'm born in the city of Lodz, near Warsaw in Poland. And that was the time of the Tsars, the Tsars dominated then. And we hated to get into the Russian army. I had to travel with false passports. I did that for about 3 years because they wouldn't give me my own passport as I was liable, to become a soldier. You see, they stopped giving you passports for leaving the country. So I was leaving with passport of a friend of mine, of different friends of mine, and sometimes with quite casual papers. And once I went to Rome, and it appeared that the passport which I borrowed from somebody was not very good for the return. He was a deserter. So you see, I found that out happily at a good moment where it wasn't dangerous. So I couldn't come back. And the brother of Tchaikovsky befriended me in Rome. I told him the whole story and he tried to help me. The consul wouldn't do anything for me. He said that all he can do for Mr. Tchaikovsky is not to denounce me, which was not much of a help. By the same afternoon, I played in the Russian club of Rome, who owned a piano given to it by Artur Rubinstein. And there was a sort of conference, I don't know, there was something done by a Russian prince who came that day to Russia and so on, to Rome, and so on. And there was the elite of the Rome society, and the ambassador, Prince Dolgoruki, was there too. Tchaikovsky told him that I had lost my passport, and could he do something? So the Prince Dolgoruki decided to give me a present. He said that I will come to your concert, young man, and I will bring you a nice present. And this present was a diplomatic passport, imagine. Number one, he has never given one before. He asked me for my age. And I could not declare the military age, the right age for being called to the army, So I took 2 years off of the years I have always known of my age, you see. Instead of the year 87, I said I was born in 89. And that was written down into that document. And this document was the father document of all the future documents I ever had to ask for, because it would make a very bad impression if I went to a passport office and say to them, look here, don't pay attention to my age. It's not right.
Yes.
And that stuck with me until now. Don't tell it anybody.
Well, tell me about your childhood. How young were you when you realized yourself that you had a musical talent which was exceptional?
Thank goodness, I was 2 years old. I didn't know anything else. There was nothing to declare to myself or to realize. I just was a fellow born with 5 cents and an additional sense, which was music. I couldn't imagine any other life at all. There was never any discussion about that I might do something else or might be somebody else. I was a musician right away. My 4th birthday in Lodz was a birthday which the whole city participated in. They gave me presents, and among them there were little visit cards. Little Arthur, pianist, musician.
How early did you begin to listen to music, public music, that is, concerts?
Well, I was taken to a concert where I heard Grieg's Peer Gynt Suite, which was my beloved work for about a year. I was trying to play it all the time and so on. Then I heard a pianist called Joseph Sliwinski, who impressed me very much very good-looking man who played many wrong notes, but the right notes were right, you know. He was a pupil of Artur Rubinstein, impressed me very much too. But then my parents took me also, that was not very clever of them, they took me to Aida. I was only 4 or 5, I don't remember, I was a very little boy. And I was so scared by the trombones, you know, by the sound of the thing, that I just cried out. They couldn't calm me, they had to take me home. And for quite a long while, I couldn't see a trombone without being scared to death.
But you were obviously a child prodigy. Does it strike you too that there's something strange that one child should be suddenly phenomenally gifted and another child apparently the same?
But it is funny to say, but I resented that mostly when I was 3, 4 years old. Because then when I jumped, for instance, 3 steps of a staircase, you know, it's a risk for a little boy. You see, I felt very courageous in doing that. I was very proud if I succeeded in doing it without falling. But I saw the complete indifference of my surrounding. My parents, my sisters, they paid no attention to it. But when I played the piano, it was for me as natural as to sleep or to eat. Then they went all over me, you know, covered me with chocolates, kissed me all over and so on, went into absolutely no. And that angered me. And later, I took it very naturally. And then I had a great luck in this respect that Mr. Joachim, when he had a great talk with my mother about my future and so on, insisted only on one single thing. He said that I will not have that boy being exploited as a wunderkind, you know, a child prodigy. And this I owe it to him. That's a great thing he had done for me. I was left alone. You see, of course, I was allowed to play in concerts to show my progress, which is good. I played with an orchestra in Potsdam when I was 11. Then Joachim himself conducted the Mozart concerto for me at the Hochschule, at the big concert there. They let me go to Warsaw to show my talents and my progress and so on, but it was not exploitation, you know what I mean? I was not sent with an impresario on tours or something.
How soon did success come?
Success came in many ways, and at the same time not at all, really. I had premature, incredible success. I was suddenly recognized as a genius in France, in Paris, when I was not ready with simple schooling. I was invited there by a Polish gentleman, and he introduced me to a great new manager. It was Gabriela Struck, a very famous man. He was really the creator of the Diaghilev ballet. He was quite a great personality. And he liked me, you know. He just started his big affairs. And his first contract was Wanda Landowska, another Pole. And the second contract was me. And I owe this contract to the fact that he made me play not for pianists or piano professors, but for Ravel and Paul Ducasse and Jacques Thibault, all 3 of them great musicians, but not pianists.
When did you first come to London?
I came to London already in 1904, right after my gala in Paris. You know, I met all the people. It was good for me and bad for me, because later on, when I came seriously to London to make my career, I gave many concerts, I introduced myself in recitals and ensemble. My first concert, actually, serious concert, was at Queen's Hall, a sonata recital with Pablo Casals. I played with Jacques Thibault, a sonata evening too, and so on. And I had success, but with a lot of critical, you know, comments about this and that and so on. I always had that in London up till now.
That period of yours in which you were part of London society, I sense in things I've read about you and things you've said that looking back on that, you realize that your life had taken something of a wrong turning there.
Well, that became like that, you see. I fell into the hands of the great society of London. It took me up. You know how it is in London. Those times, London was a very frivolous place. You know, they loved sports and the things, at home concerts, and lots of garden parties and whatnot and so on. The great papers everybody looked up to was the Tatler and the Sketch. And I was very often seen in a photograph in the Tatler, let's say, with Lady Diana Cooper and the friend. The friend was me. It's not anymore like that. But the critics and musicians in London thought that I was a society pianist. Yes. My main work was to play at lovely soirees after wonderful dinners, and it was not so at all. But it looked so. And that hurt me a little bit in London for quite a few years. But still, a man like Henry Wood believed in me, engaged me always solemnly for his concerts. I did play with the serious people who liked me too. But I had a certain clique against me who thought, oh. Then there's another point came up. The great window to my career was opened by Spain, all countries.
When did you first go to Spain?
During the First World War, and also by chance, I suddenly received a telegram from Spain. Could I come over and play the D minor concerto of Brahms? They couldn't find anybody else. And the pianist who was engaged was in the war. And you wouldn't believe it. I owe it to the late Harold Nicholson, who introduced me to Lord Grey, who was then the Foreign Affairs Secretary. He put me on an auxiliary warship to take me to Bilbao. I couldn't go anymore through France. And I arrived in Spain just for the rehearsal on the day of the concert. My name was written in ink because they didn't expect me to arrive on time. But that was the greatest success of my life, I think, because from then on, my whole life changed, my career changed. It became suddenly a money-making proposition. I changed very much. I always was changing enormously, musically. Widely interested, what happens to music happens to me, and then I always felt that I have everything ahead of me to find. I was always dissatisfied. And now at my very old age, my only purpose is to make some progress in playing things which I had played so much in my life, that will never satisfied me enough.
Clearly you were determined to stop the feeling of what you called the society pianist.
See, I was never really a playboy, but if it goes, if from some point of view, I'm still a playboy, because I'm not set on my job, you understand. I like to see the gay life of things. I like to see interesting people who don't need to be musical, who might even hate music, I don't like colleagues of mine who are so absolutely concentrated, who never go out anywhere, who haven't seen anything. They travel all over the world, some of them I know, go to a hotel, go to the concert and depart. Well, not me, you see. When I go to Java, I will take all the pains in the world also to go to Bali. There were no concerts, but I had to see it. I learned to feel that those things which I blamed myself so much for, to be lazy practicing, or to spend too much time on the theater, or to too much time reading books which were of no utility for me musically and so on. I blamed myself for it very much for many years. But I came to the conclusion that that developed something which comes out probably in my music, and perhaps that is the reason why people still like to listen to me.